What is up, everybody? It's Artist Anderson here, your TRM leader. I hope you're feeling good because I'm feeling great. It's fellowship time and it's Wednesday. So you know we're talking about marriage and relationships. And so tonight we're on part 8 of Relationships Die Without Love. And so if you haven't caught the first 7, go to the YouTube, check out the videos. A lot of great information. What we've been doing is, in this series, is explaining what real love is, according to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 8. And we've been taking each category or each characteristic of love and breaking it down and applying it to marriage and relationships. And so if this is your first time tuning in, go back and check out the first 7. Tonight we're going to be doing part 8. And so feel free to answer any questions. Feel free to ask me anything you need, even if it's off topic. If it's a relationship or marriage question, feel free to ask me. What's up, Naomi? What's up, everybody tuning in? Listen, if you have any questions, even if it's not on topic, feel free to ask. I will answer live. And so let's dive right in. I think these last 7 teachings has been tremendous and important and valuable to each and every person as it pertains to their marriage and relationship. But tonight, this is part 8, where it says, love is not provoked. Love is not provoked. Now let's go to 1 Corinthians 13. Y'all know we got to go there real quick. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Verse 4, it says, love is patient, love and kind, New Living Translation. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. We covered all of that the last 7 weeks. Tonight, though, is about this next phrase. It is not irritable. That's the New Living Translation. In the NIV, it says, not easily angered. Love is not irritable. Love is not easily angered. Then it goes on to say in the New Living Translation, love is not irritable as well. Oh, I already said that. Sorry. In the New King James Version, it says, love is not easily provoked. In the Amplified, this is the version I really want us to pay attention to. Love is not provoked nor overly sensitive and easily angered. Okay? So these are some interesting dynamics as far as love and relationships and marriage. So if you're easily angered, easily irritable, easily provoked, or overly sensitive, love is not residing in you. Love is not residing in your heart. Okay? As it pertains to what 1 Corinthians 13 is telling us, because it's saying love is not provoked or irritable or easily angered, okay? So let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9, really quick. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9. It says this, control your temper, for anger labels you a fool. So in your marriage and in your relationships, you have to control your temper. You have to. It is necessary. You have to control your temper, okay? And control your anger. In the Amplified, it says this. In the Amplified in verse 9, it says, do not be eager in your heart to be angry, for anger dwells in the heart of fools. All right, now let's go to Proverbs 14. Let's look at 29. Proverbs 14, verse 29 in the New Living Translation. It says, people with understanding control their anger. So here is a prerequisite to controlling your anger, gaining understanding. I've always said, if you gain understanding of humanity, you'll get yourself under control emotionally, physically, mentally, period. Because there's an understanding there. For example, if a baby cries, you expect that. That's normal humanity. If a baby pees in the diaper, that's normal, okay? The more you understand the dynamics of people as it pertains to where they are in life, whether it's childhood, adolescence, or adult, you'll understand that you can control your anger just based on those simple principles. It says, people with understanding control their anger. A hot temper shows great foolishness. So with these three scriptures, I just want to highlight this point. If you're easily irritable or angry or provoked, okay, or meaning somebody can do something and you easily get irritated. That's what provoke means. Like people can barely do anything, say anything, act anyway, or you're getting upset. That's what it means, okay? What that simply means is it is foolish and silly and stupid to be that way. That's what the Bible is saying. A temper shows great foolishness. The other verse in Ecclesiastes says, control your temper, for anger labels you a fool. It labels you. It labels you a fool. If you get the label of being a fool. Now, let's get into this information. God is love, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 13 helps us to truly understand what love really is and how to apply it to our relationships and our marriages. In return, it highlights what love does not look like, which helps us to quickly identify when love is not involved in our marriages and relationships. Love is not simply a feeling. Love is an action that produces a feeling within us, okay? Love is an action that produces a feeling within us. It is a gift that is given that leads to more displays of love in action, okay? So our ability to love can only come from the fact that God has given us the gift of love by loving us first. So love is at the same time a characteristic of God and is his nature, is God's nature shown to us in action. Psalm 103 verse 8, New Living Translation says this: the Lord is compassionate and merciful, slow to get angry, and filled with unfailing love. How can a God love us so patiently, but we struggle? Have people offended you more than you offended God? Has people hurt you more than you've hurt God? Let's just be honest about this. Listen, the Lord is compassionate and merciful. He's slow to get angry. So guess what is required of us? To be slow to get angry, okay? Why? Because he's filled with unfailing love. So what do we have to do? Receive God's love so that we can become full of it, so that we can be slow to anger, slow to irritation, slow to frustration. Love is not easily provoked. That's what the Bible says. Love is not easily angered. Love is not easily irritable. Love is not easily oversensitive, which means it takes a lot to get angry or be provoked or be irritable or be frustrated or to become sensitive. It should take a while. It should take a long while. Provoke means to be easily or often stimulated or given rise to, okay? It means to easily be ignited or angry or frustrated or uneasy or irritated, right? But the word that stands out to me when I hear that love is not easily provoked is this word, this two-part word called self-control. And self-control is something that we must nurture, right? And grow into as we mature. So self-control comes with maturity. But love is not easily angered, right? Love is not easily angered, not easily provoked, not easily frustrated, not easily irritated, which circles back to the first characteristic of love that we were given in verse 4, which is patience. So there's an intertwining of true love in your marriage and relationship as it pertains to patience and being easily angered or provoked or irritated or frustrated. See, we have to get to the bottom dynamic of this one understanding. that true love in a marriage and relationship looks a certain way. Not the way Hollywood, not the way movies or television, or not the way our families and stuff has sometimes shown us. But it has to come from the very essence of what God has ordained love to be. And when we take that information and apply it to our marriage and relationships, then we will see the true fruit of real love. And we'll start to see more lasting, fulfilling, honorable marriages and relationships, right? So going back to this word patience, the simplicity is patience means you don't mind waiting because you have understanding. Now let's go back to Proverbs real quick, because didn't it say that people with understanding control their anger? People with understanding can control their anger. So now when we go back to patience, let's look at this. The simplicity is patience means you don't mind waiting because you understand. Simply put, patience means to manage yourself in a calm manner without complaint. It means even when provoked, you don't get stimulated or give rise and start spewing out negative emotions or words or actions. It means that you can manage yourself with things that cause annoyance. You can manage and deal with misfortune and inconvenience. You understand that sometimes delay comes with the territory, okay? You understand when you have patience, you understand that you through hardships, that through hardships, right? In real life comes hardships. And through those hardships, there's going to be trouble and setbacks, and understanding that it takes maturity to deal with that. You handle it with maturity. Having patience means I can cope in difficult times. It means you should be able to cope with pain. You should be able to cope with disappointment. You should be able to manage your frustrations and your irritations. So if any of these things are not showing up in your marriage or your relationship, it means you have a lack of patience, which means you are lacking a very big component of love. And as a result, your marriage and relationships are going to struggle and suffer. Because without love, your relationship and your marriage will die. Now, please go back and listen to the first 7 aspects of love in the YouTube. This is part 8, where we're dealing with love is not easily angered, okay? When you look at Proverbs 16, verse 32, let's go to that real quick. Proverbs 16, verse 32. I'm just trying to help some marriages and relationships, y'all. Listen, when you go to Proverbs 16, verse 32, okay? It says, it's better to be patient than powerful. Better to have self-control than conquer a city. Better to have self-control than conquer a city. Patience is a reflection of your self-control. And impatience is a reflection of your lack of self-control. So when you lack self-control in your marriage or your relationship, it becomes dangerous and destructive. It becomes dangerous and destructive. A person without self-control is like a city with broken down walls. Anything can just come in and destroy everything, damage everything, hurt anything and anybody. And that's what we got to understand. So when we talk about people with understanding can control their anger, right? And that a hot temper shows great foolishness. Notice that it says people with understanding. So what is one of the main components to preventing yourself from being easily angry, provoked, irritated, frustrated, disappointed, etc.? It is understanding. Understanding the person you're in a marriage with. Understanding the person you're in a relationship with. Understanding the dynamics of the relationship. Understanding the settings, the occasion, the needs, the shortcomings, the faults. Do you truly have an understanding of that? Or if I can go back to part 7 real quick, or are you trying to control everything and demand your own way? Or are you trying to be self-seeking and only worry about you? So when you don't get your way or things don't go the way you like, you throw fits and you cause problems and you cause frustrations and you bring irritation to your marriage. See, we have to understand that these are powerful things that we have to learn and process as individuals. Notice it says control their anger. People with understanding control their anger. It's nobody else's responsibility to control your anger. It's your responsibility to control your anger. It is your responsibility to control your anger. It is nobody else's responsibility. It is your responsibility to control your anger. That means it is natural to be angry, but can you control it is the question. It is normal to get angry at times. It is normal to be irritated at times. It is normal to have moments of frustration. And when I say normal, I mean moments, like once every couple of months, normal. Not every other day, not every day, not every hour, not every sentence. Every couple of months, there's something that frustrates you or irritates you or something like that. The best way to control anger is by maturing to the place where things that anger you, where things don't anger you at all, or at least not easily. I'm gonna say that again. The best way to control your anger is by gaining understanding, and also by putting in the practice and the discipline of and by putting in that practice and discipline, whether it's anger management classes, therapy, whatever it may be, different types of ways, YouTube, all types of things on YouTube to learn and grow from. Regardless of how you go about it, you have to gain some understanding about different dynamics of life and people. And then you have to mature by doing the self-motivated things to growing and mature, so that the things that used to anger you barely get you angry at all, or barely get you irritated at all, or barely get you frustrated at all, right? I'm a firm believer that you can mature to a place where you are mature and fully able to be at a place where people or circumstance, right? What in the word did I type? I'm a firm believer that you can mature to a place where you are mature and fully able to be at a place where people or circumstance don't make you angry. I believe it's possible to get there, but it is a process. But again, it's possible. It is possible to get to a place where people don't make you angry, or circumstances don't make you angry. See, when we talk about making you, we're taking out the accountability, and we got to stop doing that. Because sometimes you have to understand that it ain't nobody else's responsibility to tiptoe and have to walk on eggshells and have to watch everything they say or do or feel. Why? From the place to where you might get irritated or angry or frustrated or lash out or yell or cuss or whatever, or punch somebody or punch a wall, right? We can't go through life blaming everyone and everything for anger. You can't do that. Saying such and such made you mad, such and such made you frustrated, such and such made you, okay, cool. We understand that life happens and those things happen from time to time. But in a marriage and a relationship, it should be far few in between that these things happen. You had kids, you got married, you have a job, you created bills. That comes with the territory. Why should someone suffer in a marriage with you because you are complaining about a life that you decided to have? A life that you continuously decide to live out. Minimize your bills. Do what you got to do. If you're so mad and frustrated, that's a whole nother topic. Now, let's look at something. What is a temper? A temper is a person's state of mind seen in terms of their state of being angry or calm. So what does it mean when someone is short-tempered? Okay? It means that they have a tendency to lose their temper quickly, resulting in anger, rage, verbal abuse, dangerous verbiage, physical abuse behavior, irritation, frustration, these types of things. So can a person full of love have a short temper? It doesn't seem so. It doesn't seem so. But I'll leave that for other people to debate. But what we do know is that God is slow to anger. What we do know is that God doesn't have a short temper. And if we're going to be in a marriage or relationship, in order to display God in that marriage to each other and to those around us, we have to be slow to anger. We have to be slow to anger. Tempers are dangerous, so get rid of your temper. Tempers are destructive, so get rid of your temper. Short fuses are dangerous. Get rid of it. Short fuses are destructive. Get rid of it. Okay? And when I say get rid of it, that means find the necessary tools, classes, environments, teachers, etc., to help you get to that place. Okay? People with tempers can be easily provoked and irritated, causing major relationship and marriage problems. Are you in a relationship or a marriage with somebody who's easily angered, easily frustrated, easily irritated, short-tempered, quick to get defensive, any of those dynamics? Love cannot exist in the same place as those things. Because the Bible says love is not easily angered. It didn't say love is not angered. It says love is not easily. So we're dealing with the aspect of you should not be easily or often angry, irritated, frustrated, short-fused, short-tempered, etc. Okay? Now let's look at something else. Why do things get on your nerves so easily? Why do things get on your nerves so often? How beneficial is it to say that you love your spouse or significant other, while at the same time, every time they say something, do something, or whatever the case may be that's off or you don't like, you start yelling and screaming and throwing fits or going silent, getting upset, getting defensive, punching things, smashing things, yelling at things, storming out the house? How can you say you love someone, especially your spouse or your significant other, and that at the drop of a dime, you are displaying this type of behavior? That's not love. That's not understanding. That's not patience. That's not kindness. That's not gentleness. It's not. You have to be careful when you say you love someone, because there should be actions that back that up. But because we don't have a true definition of love, we decide to define and display love however we choose, and that's the problem. How on edge will your spouse or significant other become, wondering when is the next time you'll be easily angry or frustrated? What minute, what hour, what day, what week, right? How on edge is it to see? And what's crazy is that when you're the one who's easily angered, you're not the one that knows what it feels like. And you're walking around thinking it's normal, and it's not. And what we have to do is become more accountable to the fact that we have anger issues, temper issues, short fuses, easily irritated, easily frustrated. God is love, right? God is love. So the equation boils down to this. If we are to display true love in our marriage or relationships, we must follow suit and be slow to anger, slow to rage, slow to frustration, slow to irritation, which means that two words again, self-control. We can't escape it. You have to have self-control. We have to be held accountable and seek help for any anger issues, any issues going on in your mind that leads to frustration and irritation, right? And I want to reiterate that anger is not in and of itself wrong or unnatural. The issue is when it's constant or often or easily provoked or uncontrollable to the point where your language and actions cause damage and harm to your marriage and your relationship. Okay? There are a list of genuine reasons or causes of anger, but it is the result of many mental health conditions and issues, and that list is extensive, so I don't have time to get into that. But understand that there are some genuine reasons why people have anger issues as it relates to mental health, okay? But that is a separate issue, and whoever is dealing with the mental health issue should seek the necessary help so that they can get that under control and be free from it, once and for all. Because in a marriage and relationships, that is not healthy and is dangerous. And that type of thing leads to more domestic violence, abusive situations, abusive homes, abusive dynamics in marriages, whether it's verbal or physical or mental or financial, okay? Because there is such thing as a financial abuse. Now, in our relationships and marriages, we must continue to remember that we are married or in relationships to humans, not robots. Which means with humans, mistakes come with the territory, right? People have their own mind, their own way of doing things, their own perspectives. That's cool, right? So we're gonna let that be. That's a part of the normal thing. So if somebody gets angry, don't be quick to label them easily angry, okay? So understand that. There's a balance to this. The provoking that love isn't susceptible to are the words said or things done against us that are personally offensive, okay? So one of the major reasons we must be patient and slow to anger is so that we will have the necessary tools to practice patience as it pertains to being able, okay, which includes the ability to tolerate other people's weaknesses, flaws, faults, bad habits, etc., and not fly off the handle, right? With anger about every little thing or every situation, we have to get it under control. James 1 verse 19 says this, in the New Living it says, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters, you must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Listening is a tool of the understanding person. Listening is a tool. This goes back to the Proverbs, right? Listening is a tool of the understanding person. Great listeners don't have to talk all the time. And they actually prefer to listen more to gain better understanding. Okay? Period. Appreciate that. Is that my homeboy Lamar Bates? Oh man, I don't know if that's the same Lamar Bates. Let me know. Appreciate that though. So watch this. What we have to understand is this. Great listeners don't have to talk all the time. And they actually prefer to listen so that they can gain a better understanding. What's up, brother? Yo, I hit you back. I know you hit me in September. I got the voicemail late. And I hit you back months later. And then I left a voicemail. So hit me when you can. Watch this. Meaning that so as a result, well, let me back up. Great listeners don't have to talk all the time because they're trying to gain understanding. As a result, they are often slower to get angry, which makes them great spouses and having great spousal qualities, okay? Now watch this. Then it says, and on top of that, I thought I was about to read the scripture. And then it says, all right, let me get it back. As a result, they're slower to get angry, right? So meaning that's the type of person you can really do life with. You can work through life with a person like that. You can do life with somebody that is quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. So again, understanding is the secret code to easing and managing and preventing continual, habitual, perpetual, continual, nonstop anger, irritation, frustration, etc., etc. We understand that babies cry, right? We understand that dogs bark. We understand that cars need gas. We understand that losing weight takes time. We understand the body needs sleep. So with all these small examples, if people are easily angered, it's because of these things. It's a sign. If people are easily angered for things such as that, or any other example as it pertains to what I just said, right? That means they severely lack understanding. You should not be easily frustrated or irritated for your baby crying. Babies are supposed to cry. Dogs are gonna bark. Why are you getting frustrated? Life happens. Stuff happens on the job. People are going to be people. Why are you so angry and irritated and frustrated? And now you're taking that back to your marriage, taking that back to your relationship because you can't get it under control. That's why marriages and relationships struggle the way they do. Remember, the marriage is fine as long as two people are not in it. The moment you put two people in it, the marriage got problems. If you have an empty building, that building will have no problems until you put people in it. What is the point? People bring the problems. So the more mature you train yourself to become, and the more mature you hold yourself accountable to, and the more mature you become, the less you become a problem. And the more you become a solution to your marriage and your relationship. People with anger issues, or people easily angered, irritated, and frustrated, have personal or individual rooted issues that are revealed in their marriages and their relationships, leading the other person to feel and believe that they are the problem. No. We have to deal with this appropriately and hold each other accountable. If you are a problem in any area in your marriage, you need to own it and accept it and not make the other person feel like they are a problem. That is toxic, it is destructive, and it is wrong. You can't make somebody feel like they need to change everything and fix everything about you, or fix everything about themselves to make the marriage work. That is false. Quadruple false. When you're married or in a relationship where somebody has to feel like they have to keep changing to make you happy, or to make sure you don't get angry or frustrated or irritated, or to make the marriage work, that is manipulation. People need to be held accountable. It is very easy to complain about the other person instead of fixing your own problems and issues. It is easy, but irresponsible and immature to point out the other person's flaws or failures and blame them as to why you get angry or easily irritated or easily angered or easily frustrated. Now, it is easy and irresponsible, y'all. It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible. What's so powerful about this is that Jesus becomes our great example of God's love. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 21 through 23, it says, he did not retaliate when he was insulted. What if we took that principle? What if we took that small principle and applied that to our marriage or relationship? He did not retaliate when he was insulted. When your spouse is frustrated or angry or upset and they throw insults, do you throw them back? That's childish. It's childish for them to throw the insult in the first place, but it's even more childish for you to stoop to their level. Then he goes on to say, nor threatening revenge when he suffered. See, in a marriage and a relationship, we're not looking for revenge just because somebody upset us or made us angry or made us or hurt. Like, no. That's not the type of love Jesus displayed. What principles can we learn from Jesus and apply to our marriage and relationships? Let me give you some signs of a person that is easily angered. A person that is easily angered or irritated or frustrated, they make snap judgments and decisions before gaining all of the information or understanding. They just, I'm tired of waiting, just get on my nerves, and they just make a decision or snap judgment, or they make an assumption about something. They yell before listening more often than not. They're talking more than listening. They're often irritable. They're often frustrated. They often raise their voice prematurely. You ever been in a marriage or relationship and it's like, yo, we're not even at the point of the discussion where you should even be yelling. Why are you yelling? Like, we didn't even get there yet. Like, you're starting out yelling. You're supposed to get to that point. No, you're not supposed to get there. That was a joke. Ha ha. That's not healthy to get to a point of yelling. It's not healthy. Nor is it normal. Stop believing all these lies people tell you about marriage and relationships. Arguing is not normal. Now, you can talk, you can debate, right? You can discuss. Yeah, all those things are normal. But just arguing, that's not normal. Don't let anybody tell you that lie. Arguing is not normal. You yelling and y'all throwing fits and fighting and for 2-3 days, that's not normal. It can happen. It's a part of our culture, but it's not normal. It's not healthy. So listen, I feel you, Tyrell. The reality is a person who's easily angered, they get mad when you do. This is kind of funny because I've seen this happen with a lot of people. They get mad when you do get your way. Easily angered. They get mad because you don't like what was said or done. Like, depending on the situation, of course. You might say something or something's happening, and then they get mad because, listen, y'all. They do something. So, for example, let me give you an example, just in case it's confusing. Let's just say you're in a marriage, right? And you might, let me use something that makes sense. Let's just say you you wash the dishes and you put the bowls in the wrong part of the cabinet, right? So they get mad at you because they don't like the fact that you put the bowls in the wrong cabinet instead of appreciating you for washing the dishes. See? This is the type of toxic stuff that happens all over the country. People get mad before they can even appreciate. Let's let this sink in for a second. You do something nice for your spouse, and they get mad because you didn't do another thing. That stuff happens. That is toxic and dangerous and destructive, and it is problematic. People that are easily angered, they're typically a person that seeks their own way and is often easily angered when they don't get their way or when they are not in control. Okay? So when we're dealing with this issue, it becomes a very primary issue that needs to be tended to. True love looks a certain way. And when you apply that love to your marriage and your relationships, it's going to look a certain way. It's going to feel a certain way. It's going to sound a certain way. And it's going to look from afar a certain way. And what a lot of us are seeing today in our society is not true marriage or relationship that is infused with God love. So again, I reiterate, love is not easily angered. Love is not easily irritable. Love is not easily provoked or given rise to. It's just not. It's not. And if that is an issue you deal with, you need to get that fixed and under control because it's not right and it's not healthy for a relationship or a marriage. Conclude. Let's conclude. I just made up a word. Relationships are all about being able to enjoy life together. That's what marriage and relationships should be about. And let's remember, marriage is really a sign of what Jesus' relationship is to people. That's what marriage is supposed to exemplify. That's why the Bible says, husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church. Like these types of phrases in reference to Jesus and people, or Jesus and how a husband is supposed to love his wife. These types of dynamics, we have to understand what marriage really is. And a lot of people are not getting married for the right understanding of what marriage is today. They're getting married because it feels good. They're getting married because it's what they think the culture it's what culture has told us should happen. They get married because they want the wedding and the pictures and the attention and the notoriety and the likes. And they want people to say, oh, you look so good together. And we don't want to be honest about that type of stuff. So we just don't say anything about it. We just let people go on and do what they do. But that's why a lot of people end up divorced. They're not getting married because they understand what marriage is and what it's supposed to represent and how you're supposed to behave in the marriage as it pertains to the character that you should have in your marriage. But marriage should be enjoyed. It should be enjoyed, handled with the right amount of communication, handling conflict with the right amount of self-control, doing conflict resolution together. If you can't solve a problem and move on from it without getting mad or getting mad again, then the issue may be bigger than that one incident that made you angry, and you need to deal with that. But generally speaking, you should be able to have a conversation and be done with it and move on. What is this lingering stuff people doing nowadays? What is this ongoing, you still mad from last week? You still mad from Sunday? You still mad? What is that? That's not normal. That's a you problem. Now, somebody may say, well, they keep doing something that's disrespectful. They keep doing something and they say they're sorry, but they do it again. That's a whole nother conversation. Here's my question. Why are you still putting up with it? Hello. Why did you marry a person like that? But they changed after I married them. Well, you're going to have to deal with that in a mature way. Your complaining and your irritation and your frustration don't seem to be doing the job, though. So let's deal with it the appropriate way. Hit me up if you need help. foreverlove.com. Sorry, tryforeverlove.com. TRY, the number 4, everlove.com. But listen, it is very hard to solve something when everything makes you angry. How you gonna have a conversation about anything when you're always getting upset? How your spouse or your significant other gonna talk to you when you always getting angry? When you always getting defensive, how are they gonna talk to you? You explain that to me. Help me make sense of that. I bring something to you, you get angry, you get frustrated, you get agitated. How are you agitated? I got the problem. I'm upset with you. I have an issue with what you did. How are you mad? Okay, so for example, let's just say you said you were going to pay this certain bill. You didn't pay the bill. So now that messed up our finances. So now I'm upset with you. I come to you to talk about the fact that why did you not pay the bill that you said you was going to pay, and you get mad at me? What planet does that make sense? See, that's some manipulative, toxic stupidity that people are dealing with in their marriages and relationships. How somebody gonna bring an issue they have to you and you get mad at them? How about just loving them enough to listen? How about loving them enough to deal with the issue and move past it? It's very hard to solve something in a marriage when you're easily irritated and frustrated, right? Because what happens is the resolving is a never-ending saga, right? But anyway, being angry isn't a bad thing. It's not wrong. It's a part of our normal expression as humans. But you can express your anger and your concerns and your frustrations, your irritations in a constructive way that leads to resolution, right? And conclusions so that you can move on from that. So as we wrap up, I want to announce to you that love is not easily angered. Love is not easily provoked. Love is not easily irritable. If you're easily angry or irritable or any of those other things, or in relation to, you have to deal with that issue internally in a constructive, appropriate way. Because your marriage and your relationship will die if you cannot get this aspect of love infused into your marriage. All right. Any questions? Any thoughts? Appreciate everybody that has been tuning in. Appreciate the comments and the question. Well, more comments. Any questions? Any other relationship questions you would like me to tackle while I am here on the live? All right, I don't see anything coming through. I know I'm delayed a little bit from the real live, but okay. So listen, appreciate you all. Thank you for tuning in. Go to tryforeverlove.com, the number 4, tryforeverlove.com. Okay. All right, we have a question. Can you heal someone by prayer even if they don't feel like they have the problem? Great question. So as it pertains to prayer, the Bible says, ask and you shall receive, right? Meaning if you ask for something within God's will and you believe it, you'll receive it. Appreciate it, Tyrell. And so, yes, but yes, the answer is yes, but let me give you some context. If someone doesn't realize they have a problem, I think it's our responsibility to go to that person and talk about it in a loving way. If they are not receptive to it, then we can take it into prayer and ask God, right, to cover that person and love that person and pray that their heart opens up to receive a conversation, pray that their heart opens up to receive love as it pertains to the necessary issue or problem that they may have. And understand that God has a way of loving us and getting us to a place through his grace to where we can receive and process and and understand things in a very open way that will help solve that problem. Does that make sense? Let me know real quick if that makes sense, because that was a very good question. I wanted to make sure that I answered it in a way that was understandable. Because when you're praying for someone, remember, because we all know this, even if somebody doesn't feel like they have a problem, that doesn't mean they don't have a problem, right? So, okay, cool, appreciate it. So what we have to understand is that prayer is powerful. It can change circumstances. It can change dynamics. It is a spiritual weapon that God has given us to use at our disposal for very necessary situations and reasons. So love you all. Appreciate you all for tuning in. We are done for the night.